Hey, welcome to an episode of Chad's Beer Reviews. This week's guest is Rod J. Beer Ventures. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. I've had this bottle in the fridge here for like months because whenever I do a collab review like this, it's like I have to get something that we can both get, and like usually it's like international beers, like a lot of Belgian and German beers.
Mhm.
So I've reviewed this one before, but it's been a long time. So of course I'm talking about Orval Trappist Ale. This is 6.9 ABV. Mine was bottled on November 13th last year, and it's from the Orval Brasserie d'Orval out of Orval, Belgium. This is the only beer that this Trappist monastery makes, as far as I know.
Mhm.
So, and it is a Brett beer. So I pour it into my, tulip glass, and even though it's like you can see, it's like a nice orange amber color. It just foams up a huge. Like you have to pour this thing basically at like a horizontal angle,
Yeah.
So yeah, Rod's got a big floppy head on his too.
Yeah, it's fun
It
one now,
has
though.
it has dissipated a little. I mean, this
Yeah.
with Brett beers, and it's like you always end up waiting, So
Yeah.
anyway, how does it smell? Ooh, wow.
It smells like a bread beer. I mean, you're getting a little bit of a funkiness in there. So you're picking up the yeast.
Yeah, I definitely picked like Brett was the first thing I noticed, but I also get like a pretty strong orange citrus on this one.
I get some orange. I definitely get kind of that farmhouse type aroma too, though. But I get the orange.
Mhm.
Almost behind the orange, a little bit of a lemon peel is what
Yeah,
I'm
I agree
getting
with
on
that.
mine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like orange juice frozen concentrate, and yeah, a little bit of lemon peel.
Yeah.
Maybe like a little bit weedy, maybe. But
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
you getting like toast or so I'm trying to like pick up like the base malt, but like the yeast quality is like so strong, it's kind of like overriding everything else.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of a toast bready type feel in it as well.
Because this
Not
is
as much,
a
not as much as a cracker, but definitely a bread.
yeah, this is a Belgian pale ale base style, and they do a secondary on Brett. So this is,
Hmm.
this is like the original Brett beer. Brett beers are pretty big in the US now. In fact, like the BJCP has a whole style guideline just for American Brett beer. Although actually they're kind of waning in popularity. Anyway, we've been
Really?
going
Okay.
for like over 3 minutes now. You want to dig in here?
Yeah, I'm going to get a taste here.
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers. Get on the palate.
Hmm. Yeah, that Brett is intense.
Yeah, you get a little bit grassy note in there once you put on the palate.
Mhm.
A little bit of earthiness to it. It's got a
Yeah,
nice. It's got a nice splash on the flavor though. It hits the cheeks nicely where you're getting that splash coming through.
I would say like the first thing I noticed is kind of like what I noticed on the aroma, like it's very orange.
Hmm.
It's like, well, I think the first thing I noticed on this one was like the Brett, and it has like almost like an acidic quality to it. Like you get like a
Yes.
little bit of like an acidic, I don't say burn, but like a little bit of like an acidic warmth.
Hmm. Definitely get that. Definitely got a bitter and quality to it.
Hmm.
Like my wife
Yeah,
would be like, she would not want this because of the bitter.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's so much that it's bitter as it is dry because
Well, you definitely get the dry, but the upfront, I'm getting a kind of like a, it's kind of like a bitter, sour type bitter type feel. It's not bitter harsh, but it's just got that little bitter tinge to it.
yeah,
What I'm
like
getting.
a tannic kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
It's very fizzy.
Yes. Very, as we say, effervescent. So,
Yeah, my head is still hanging around there, and
I just
I
put
was
more
I was
in. It loads up. Yeah.
I was judging some homebrews last week, and like one of the descriptors for describing the foam, one of them is poofy. I think this is what they mean by poofy, like this texture.
Yeah.
Where it's almost, it's like,
I think like sudsy too. When I look at this,
yeah, like
yeah,
dish soap suds.
yeah, yeah. But it's got like that foam has that airiness in it too as you work through it.
Hmm.
It's like part of the experience.
Hmm. This one reminds me, it's very, very close to like a saison,
Yes,
like a Brett saison.
which is why I was getting the farmhouse stuff earlier.
Mhm. Yeah.
Talking about that there. Yeah, it's definitely kind of down that road a little bit.
But it kind of lacks like that crackery, weedy quality of a saison.
Hmm.
It's just not. It's not quite the same. Although I mean, I love a good saison. They seem like they're
Yeah.
hard to find now. I haven't had a Belgian amber ale or Belgian pale ale in years, and like you can't even get them anymore. I think like the only one I can think of, like there's two. There's Palm, which I
Hmm.
haven't seen in years, and then the big one in America is 𝐎𝐸𝐲 Rare. You ever had that
Okay.
one?
Yeah. I don't know if I don't think I've had the Rare Voss out of the 𝓬𝓮𝓀 beers, but I know of it, and I've had the Palm because when I
Mhm,
was in Cincinnati for a number of years, Palm we get that out there all the time, and some of the bars even had on tap.
mhm. Yeah, this has like a. It's starting to warm up now. I probably should have let it warm up before we started, but
Yeah.
I'm starting to get like a little bit of like a caramel on this. Is it just me?
I haven't had the caramel hit yet. No, I took this out, I think 10 to 12 minutes before we started.
Mhm,
Now, I probably could have got it out longer because something like this style, I would usually have this probably around the 45 to 50 level. And I don't know I think my fridge that I keep the beers in is probably around
mhm.
38 or 39. So I probably could have gave it a little bit more time.
Yeah, I keep all my beers in this fridge, and I have it set to like the warmest setting.
Yeah.
I used to have I should probably get another therm. It doesn't really matter to me what the temperature is. I'm not like
Yeah.
that much of a stickler on temperature, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I
Well, I
kinda
mean,
like
for
and it's kinda
some styles, it does come into play though. To open up the flavors,
yeah,
right? So yeah.
and I kinda like the experience of, like, how the beer changes between the time you take that first sip to the time you get to the last sip, you know?
Yeah. I'm with you on that. It's the experience of it all.
Now this beer is only 6.9 ABV, which by today's standards is pretty light,
It
but
is.
I will say it it's not like the easiest beer in the world to drink because of the really high carbonation on this one,
Mhm,
and also like a little bit of like an acidity to it.
mhm.
Um, so it's not easy to just throw back. Also, it's just like that carbonation is going to get stuck in your throat.
Yeah, yeah. Take your time with it, yeah. I would say with this beer, this is definitely one that when I characterize beers, I would say is
Mhm,
more for a refined or defined
mhm,
palate. You definitely would be more experienced. Like, if you were a new beer drinker, you wouldn't wanna step into this beer because it may
mhm.
turn you off from trying a lot of different other beers, right? So, this is one you kinda build toward over a period of time, and then you have it and you start to understand it. Like, I can feel from drinking it the complexity of the beer. I can understand everything that kinda went into it. You can see why the Trappist they only go with the one beer here. It's definitely takes the time, and they've got obviously the process down because they've been doing it for how many years now? What was it? They initially started doing this was like 200 years ago, maybe, or was it
Really?
not that long? Was it not that long? I can't remember how long. A lot of these breweries that are Trappist breweries go back a
Yeah.
number of years. I can't remember offhand what this one was, but they refined their strategy of coming up with this beer, and definitely takes complexity, as you know, when you're working with Brettanomyces, you
Mhm.
have no idea what may happen, right? So it's always could be always a surprise game, and they were able to get this refined where if it's not exactly on, it's pretty much on. When they're doing it every time, like I think for the
Yeah.
novice person, they don't notice any difference really, right? It's kind of like if you're look at the Olympics coming up. If you're an Olympic sprinter, you notice that little difference that'll get you that extra point 0.3 or point 0.4 of a second. But if you're a regular runner, you're not going to notice
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I have a fond memory of this beer because I remember in the summer of 2010, I was in Key West and I was at a like one of the only craft beer bars in town. They had this. I think it was in bottles, but they had the actual Orval
Mhm.
glass or chalice or whatever you call it. And I don't know what it was. It just like really hit the spot on like this like 90-degree, 100% humidity night. You know, I remember like the label, just because the bottle was sweating, like the label just peeled right off it just slid right off the bottle.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I don't know if you do grades on your show. For me, this is about like a 8 out of 10, kind of like a B+ kind of beer.
Okay. Yeah, I used to not really do them, and I had some of the viewers ask me to kind of start doing them because they were kind of wanting me to kind of critique some stuff out. So I started actually doing stuff. I just put my Untapped scores I usually put in there, and then more recently on some of the upcoming videos, I'm actually using more of a formula, kind of like BJCP, breaking it down for people and then giving them an overall score, putting the categories together and stuff. But this one for me is one of those beers where it's kind of like, I appreciate the effort and the work that went into it. I enjoy drinking it. It's definitely a very solid offering, but it's not one that I'm going to really go after as much. It's like a nice one just to sit back. Like this would be something. We moved to Baltimore, so now we ramp up. When I had a house, we were in Kentucky. Like I could sit on my back deck with a cigar and enjoy this beer and be just good to go, right? So that's kind of like one of those things to break up the routine and relax. But for me, this is like a 4 out of 5 with this beer here. I think it's very solid. It's great, got great craftsmanship. If you have that acquired palate that you build up over the years, that you kind of understand the complexities of it, I think you'll definitely enjoy it. So it just it's solid.
Well, we're in agreement then, because 4 out of 5 is the same thing as 8 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, the only reason I don't like go higher is I think like it's and this might sound blasphemous. It's like it's kind of simple. Like it's just basically like 2 flavors over and over. Kind of prefer like a little bit more nuance, and like it's like so effervescent. Like the drinkability kind of suffers a little. But yeah, this is a good beer to like get a bunch and like age them and like do like a vertical tasting to see how it changes over time.
Yeah. Well, you can do it with this 5-year shelf life. That's what they recommend on the bottle there. So, which is always good.
This must be, like they probably age this on bright tanks, just metal. Because I'm not getting like any woody quality on here, and I think like they should do like a wood version of it, or fooders as they call it.
Yeah,
the wood vats over there.
Yeah, that would add an extra little thing to it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps it up for our review of Orval Trappist Ale.
Orval.
Yeah. Got a little bit of beer left in the glass.
Yeah, me too.
I should have before we started. I should have had us both hold this up so I could get grab a screenshot. For the thumbnail, but it's okay. Yeah. All right, so stick around because I'm going to do a podcast with Rod, and all right. So thanks for doing the review, and I will see you in the podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.
Somebody brewed it. Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's beer review.
Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.